The moment Revenant has been released, many think that it's another badly designed frame. Others also say that it's basically a press for to win frame, and overall, most of the community feel that it's on the bottom of the list right now. In short, it's not even at the top 10 frames of all time. Well, as always, I'm here to change that perception. Upon a couple of tests, and tinkering with a couple of build variations, I can honestly say that Revenant is one of the strongest endgame frames in the entire game right now. A frame is considered to be great in endgame with he or she has damage potential against high-level enemies, can survive or mitigate a considerable amount of damage, or can control the field with ease, and Revenant has 2.5 of these. You can say that Wukong, Inaros or even Rhino can move over, as Revenant has a great survivability kit. Also, when it comes to damage potential, his first and third ability can kill even high-level enemies. And lastly, he has good crowd control. It may not be as badass as other crowd control abilities, but it does help in letting you survive longer against endgame enemies. Before I show any builds, I would just like to briefly discuss each of Revenant's abilities. Specifically, I would like you to see how they perform, and how they synergy well with each other. Let's begin with his Mesmer skin, which basically is his bread and butter when it comes to survivability. When this is active, you become immune to all damage, and almost all status effects. In short, this is your invincibility skill. Now, when an enemy hits you while Mesmer skin is active, they get stunned and you can cast your first ability without any energy cost. Mesmer skin also restores 1 charge of Reeve per thrall that Revenant passes through, up to the full charge count. And, while Mesmer skin is active, allies such as Warframes and companions that contact Reeve's current will gain a Mesmer skin buff with 1 charge that lasts until used. Talking about Enthrall, his first ability, this does not only turn enemies into puppets, but it's 1/2 of your ability that can kill high-level units with ease. When you pass an Enthrall target using your Reeve ability, that enemy will take more damage. Since Reeve deals a set % damage to enemies' health, it can scale indefinitely. It would take 13 Reeve casts to kill any enemy, but only 3 if that enemy is enthralled. In addition, thralled enemies leave energy pillars when they are killed that deals puncture damage per seconds, and they also generates homing energy projectiles that seek out nearby enemies within a set range. Lastly, thralls killed by Dance Macabre leave behind pickups that grant 50 overshields for Revenant and his allies. Now let's talk more about Reeve. This ability is not only a good source of damage when you pair it with Enthrall, but it's also good when it comes to mobility, especially when you are using Dance Macabre, as it can be cast for 50% reduced energy cost and cancelled at any time. And lastly, his fourth ability, Dance Macabre. Basically this is the new spin to win in the game. The good thing about this ability is, its energy beams autonomously adapt their damage type to the attributes of the enemies they hit: corrosive against armored enemies, magnetic against shielded enemies, and gas against enemies with infested flesh. But honestly, I don't use this often at endgame levels, as it's more of a liability than an asset. Why? Because it's a channeling ability wherein you can't do anything aside from spinning around. You can do this while Mesmer skin is active, but the thing is, his other abilities are far more efficient and effective at endgame levels than this spin to win ability. Now that you have a general idea on how to use all his abilities efficiently, let's discuss about my endgame build. So this is how I mod my Revenant for endgame levels: good efficiency, some duration, and lots of power strength. I choose to have 238% power strength so that I'll have 14 charges on my Mesmer skin. I could run Blind Rage in this setup, but honestly, it would be unwise to run Blind Rage at endgame levels because of those leech units. Primed flow for good amount of energy, as I usually cast abilities, and also, I have natural talent in the mix, as I find Revenant's casting speed a bit slow. If you can manage the base casting speed though, you can replace this slot with any mods that you like. And lastly, Rolling Guard. Now, many would say that this new arbitration mod is a perfect fit for Limbo, but in my honest opinion, it's more beneficial with Revenant. Why? Because it gives us enough time to safely cast Mesmer skin. With Rolling Guard, you don't need any survivability mods to mitigate damage, as you will have 3 seconds window to cast your Mesmer skin with the help of this mod. In fact, you can be invincible for the rest of the mission if you are vigilant enough on timing when to roll, and recast your Mesmer skin. One quick tip though, you might find those nullifiers troublesome for your Mesmer skin, as when there's a crowd of enemies inside the bubble shooting at you, you will most likely lost all your Mesmer skin charges. Good thing is, you can effectively use Rolling Guard to roll over inside the bubble, and kill the nullifier. But remember, you only have 3 seconds to kill the nullifier. If you don't like that tactic, then you can just gun the bubble down and kill the nullifier. Lastly, arbitration drones are also a pain for Mesmerskin, as enemies will be invincible. So, it's better to take them down first before it attach itself to a couple of enemies. Other than that, Revenant is pretty solid against any type of factions. Best part is, you can even take Revenant solo in endgame levels such as long survival runs. That's how amazing Revenant is, and that is why I considered him as one of the top tier frame when it comes to endgame levels right now. So that's it. I hope that you find this video informative again. Before leaving, please do me a favor and hit that like button if you find this video useful. Also, subscribe if you want to see more informative Warframe content. Just don't forget to turn on notifications so you will receive an update once we uploaded a new video. Lastly, you can check out our Discord server, and as well as follow me on Twitter if you want to have a little conversation with your squad leader. I have left the links on the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. Squad leader signing off.